Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Folks, welcome back. It is Sabres game night brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. And it is the Carolina Hurricanes rolling through town tonight. Kind of a tale of two teams. The Hurricanes roughly 20 games above 500. Sabres 20 games below 500. But with that said, things are moving in the right direction in Sabres land after a big RJ weekend. Let's get our crew in here. We got, of course, Gatesy35 and we got Intervinny. Gents, how are we feeling on this game night? Sabres Hurricanes.
I mean, unfortunately, the streak came to an end last game, but I don't think that really stops the emotions and how the city of Buffalo is feeling about the Sabres. This team showed in that last game when they were down, they came back and they had some fighting to them. So I'm excited to see how they play against another playoff caliber team. Yeah,
that's a good point. And I think, this team, they're still building on things. So you can't really be disappointed that their 8-game point streak came to an end. It's not really the end of the world. I'm excited. Tonight's the battle of the Andersons. You got Freddie Anderson in net for the Hurricanes and obviously Craig Anderson in net for the Sabres tonight. So I'm excited. It should be a good one. Carolina's a fun team to watch, which is never really a bad thing when you're watching a hockey team where both teams are fun to watch.
I agree. Carolina has kind of been endearing as a team, whether it's Aho or the style of play. And I don't like to admit that because in my mind, they're a pretty big rival of the Sabres. So I want to ask you guys as we kind of tee things up here, Masters Week, Sabres, Hurricanes. I want to know from your perspective, are the Hurricanes in that top 8 to 10 team tier of rivals for the Sabres? Or is that something that happened 15 years ago and the Sabres have been kind of in their own land for the last 10 years? It's kind of dissipated. Because to me, the Hurricanes broke my heart in 2006. That was the run for all time. That was everything. And I still carry it with me every day. So I put them in that tier. But my question to you is, do you guys put them in that 8-team tier of like the Sabres' top rivals?
That's a good question. I think if you're really going to sort of count these teams out, right? Obviously Toronto, obviously Boston. I would even throw Ottawa in there. Maybe, I guess if you want to put I think the Knights maybe now recently,
Flyers.
The Flyers, another good one. You're already at 5. Do you want the Rangers to be in there too? Because I guess you maybe could say that. Do you say the Panthers? Because the Panthers, back when they had Luongo, they were like 26-2-1 against us or something. I don't know. I think just out of default, maybe you do put the Panther. You put the Hurricanes in that list. But I think you're reaching that threshold where it's almost 15 years is maybe too long. Like, how long did it take us to hate the Dallas Stars less? Like, at what point did we get over our hatred for the Dallas Stars? I think whenever that threshold is, I think we can get there with the Hurricanes.
Yeah, that playoff series against the Hurricanes, I don't remember super fondly. I think I was in first grade, but it's still something like looking back, I don't know if I'll be able to get over it. Like, the city of Buffalo never forgets, whether it's Alton Brown not liking wings or, it's the Hurricanes crushing all of our hearts. That's something that I don't know if we'll ever fully get over, but we'll definitely be in the back of our minds.
Seriously. And hey, back of our minds is everything going down these last 11 games. The Sabres, obviously, like you said, just had their 8-game point streak snapped. But that doesn't mean there's any stop for the other points coming in these games. So with that said, with 11 games left, we'll go through some alternating over-unders. And you guys tell me over-under the point total for a player with these 11 remaining games. Sound good?
Yep.
Sure.
All right, Gatesy. Starting off with you. Rasmus Dahlin has been hot, but can he get 7 points in these last 11 games? He's got 43 points on the season through 68 games.
Rasmus is the man of April. I think he gets the over. That 7's a good number, and I think he's going to have a couple games where he gets a couple points.
Okay, all right, Cristiano, I'm going to put you a little bit to the test here. We got Cousins at 35 points through 67 games. So this is not going to be reflective of that point total. We are looking at 7.5 points for him in the remaining 11 games. Do you think that's something that the workhorse from Whitehorse can get done?
That's tough. Am I allowed to ask a question before I answer? Which line is he playing on tonight?
Oh, that's a good question.
I got it.
That's the best compliment you can get as a journalist, is when somebody says that's a good question.
Bro.
I think my reasoning behind that.
Today, he's on the line with Krebs and Hiddestroza, Vinny Hinney.
Oh, see, I'm a big Vinny guy for obvious reasons. So 7.5 is tough in 11 games for Dylan Cousins. I mean, he's a guy that, like, when he gets a point, you're sort of like, cool, like Dylan Cousins got a point today. 7.5. You know what? Yeah, let's hit the over. I like it. I like it a lot. With Krebs is hot lately. Krebs has been playing really well. The two of them, if they can continue to develop this chemistry and the Sabres can end the season hot, I feel like the Sabres are a team that at some point in these 11 games, they're going to get like a 7-4 victory. And maybe that night Dylan Cousins can have a hattie and an assist. I think let's say Dylan Cousins gets 8 points.
Okay. Let's put you to the test again, Gatesy, here. We got Casey Middlestat, who everyone all season, this guy's got something going on. He's not healthy. He's not able to get in the groove, obviously, from when he came back right around the middle of February. With that said, he now has 6 points in his last 6 games. So with that said, Casey Middlestat, 11 games left. Tonight, he'll be playing on a line with Asplund and Olofsson. Thank you, Lance Lazowski, Buffalo News. Casey Middlestat over under 6 points these last 11 games. I'm going to go easy on him. On him. But overall for his pacing numbers, you look at his season, he's got 14 points in 35 games. So that would be above his pace. But is that something that Middlestat can do, getting momentum as we go to the end of the year here?
I mean, before the season started, I told all my friends Middlestat would be a 40-goal scorer this season. So I was slightly off on that pace, but I'm going to blame it to the injury. But I mean, like this past couple stretches, he's been very noticeable in a good way. And 6 points, like, if he can't get 6 points, I think I'd be really upset. With, he's finally looks healthier. He's playing well. I think he can get to 7 points in 11 games. He'll be close, but I think he'll just get it.
Okay. And then rounding us out here, Vinny, we have Jeff Skinner, 50 points in 68 games. It's been a solid run here for Jeff. I am going to put him at I wanted to do it. I'll put him at 8 points for his last 11 games. Is that something over or under for Jeff Skinner?
I hate that you had to do that to me. I love Jeff Skinner so much, but I don't think everybody on the team can hit these point totals. Somebody has to not do it.
You're growing a conscience right now, and you're doing it with Jeff Skinner.
Yeah. I wanted so badly you to give me somebody like Yoki Haru, or like, how many wins is Craig Anderson going to have? I didn't want you to give me my favorite player right now. That's heartbreaking. I can't be a hypocrite. I think not everybody can hit not everybody can hit the over. The Sabres aren't going to go on like a tear where they win like 8-1 every game, as cool as that would be. I'm going to say Jeff does not get 8 points in the remaining 11 games. I think it's more realistic that he hits 8 than Cousins does. So maybe I should flip my answers around and say Cousins isn't going to do it, but Skinner is. but I'll say no. I don't think Skinner's going to get over 8 points. I think I'm going to take the under on that one. Although I have been doing really good at when I bet lately. I bet things and then I tell my friends who I bet on and they bet on the opposite and they win a lot of money. So maybe the opposite will happen and I'll get to be excited about Jeff Skinner scoring a bunch of points.
Skinner had let's see. He went from March 4th to March 18th at that point. That was 6 games. And then since then he has 8 points in 8 games.
Yeah.
8 points in 7 games. So he's on fire right now.
He is, which is great to see. If you think back a couple of years ago to his 40-goal season, he had like a really long goalless drought. And
he like 15 games at the end of the season, wasn't it?
And he ended the year when we just like throttled Detroit in the last game of the season. He scored 2 and then hit 40.
39 and 40.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the most Buffalo season ever, 2018-2019. That was like the epitome of Buffalo sports. And it was like a Buffalo season. It had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so I'm not it's not out of the question that he does that, just sort of like last couple of games, just throws a bunch in there. But I do think it's possible that he spends the next couple of games kind of quiet. So, I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to say Jeff Skinner hits the under.
Okay. Well, hey, speaking of all quiet, we had a little goaltending noise here these last couple of days as we found out 2 goalies, 1 Mike guest. Devin Levi will be staying at Northeastern for another season. Just want to talk about with you boys, like a year from now, like let's say April 2023. What do you see in between the pipes for the Sabres goals? And again, I know we're talking here on Sabres Hurricanes game night, but we're 5 minutes till puck drop, so we'll talk about this quick and then we'll get to our predictions. What do you guys see as the overall goaltending mindset for next season with this organization?
Personally, I would love to see UPL get the call up, maybe as a 1B, and I would love if they could find someone either in free agency or a trade that'd be just a consistent piece, a veteran, not someone to steal the show because they don't really need that per se. It'd be nice, but I don't want to get locked into a long contract with all these young goalies coming in, but someone who can stay healthy. I love Anderson to death. I mean, fire Tokarski to the sun, but I mean, I would love them to bring in a goalie that can just be a nice, relaxing game to watch once in a while in that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. As much as I would love to bring in a free agent goalie, the free agent goalie class kind of stinks if you look at it. So I'm with Gatesy. I love Craig Anderson, not for no reason, but like he's just a guy that sort of seems like he's endeared, himself to Sabres fans this year. I remember I stayed after, the Eichel game to cheer him as he won 300 games. So I think if I'm going to take your question literally, what our goaltending picture looks like next year on April 7th or whatever. I know it's not quite the 7th, but we'll say the 7th because that's.
I like that your brain is in such a blender. You think it's in April 7th right now.
Yeah, it's definitely not April 7th. We're on the 5th, but April 5th next year, I think Devin Levi's playing games for the Buffalo Sabres next year. And the reason I say that is he's going back to Northeastern to make another run at the Final Four, right? That's just sort of, maybe like the basis behind his mindset. He said on 2 Goalies, 1 Mike that he doesn't give up on things. He finishes things he started, which is awesome. I admire that about him. And throughout his entire career, he's made decisions that sort of make sense to him, but not to a lot of people. I think Northeastern isn't as good next year as they were this year. A .952 save percentage is super hard to replicate, and I think he'll get close. I think he'll be like a .949, but I don't think Northeastern as a team is as good as they were this year. So I think Northeastern, very similarly to last year, will be out pretty early in the tournament next year. And as a result, I think Devin Levi will be lacing them up for the Sabres at this time next season.
I got mute monstered by myself, but very interesting. And yeah, something that the Sabres have longed for. I mean, I hate to say it, just didn't know what we had during that stretch Ryan Miller run. I mean, we obviously knew what we had during his peak 2000s, but still didn't know the stability he could have brought us all these years, and something that Sabres fans have longed for after almost 2 decades of him, Marty Baron, and Dominic Hasek. What a time it was to be a Sabres fan. So something we want to get back to, that steady goaltending. And the only thing that I worry about as a Sabres fan is that coming into this year, everybody thought Craig Anderson was a joke. Everybody thought he was going to be a sieve because he was just going to be a stopgap until we get till next year. I hope it's not that reasoning that like maybe we struggle out the gate next year, because likely he'll be still in the building in this space. Hopefully he can have the success that he's had this year when he's been able to be healthy. But speaking of being healthy, we are looking for a healthy performance tonight out of the Sabres. So with that said, we were talking about it in the chat. Jeff Skinner revenge spot? I mean, is that Cliff Poo? I mean, yeah, right. If you're an athlete and you get traded, you kind of don't like that, right? The bottom line.
Especially somewhere you're picked up, like you start your career there. I'm sure you imagine you spend your whole time there winning a cup, and then your team sucks every time you're there. You get traded, now they're good. It's like, I think Jeff Skinner has something deep down, probably a little more anger towards Mr. Kruger, but there might be something there still for the Hurricanes organization.
Yeah, I think Jeff Skinner is a guy who's been a streaky goal scorer for his entire career, and it is possible that he pulls a couple out of the hat tonight and maybe buries 2 against his former team. It seems like on par with maybe something that he has done maybe in the past. It tends to be sort of a Jeff Skinner thing to bury those in those games like that.
Very true. I mean, let's face it. When he's fired up, and that's why you got to love Skinner as a Buffalo sports fan. It's so nice to see him scoring. I mean, again, you have the contract, and he's obviously going to be a Sabre for at least 4 to 5 more years at this point. So, yeah, nice to see him filling up the score sheet at a nice rate. With that said, let's fill up the score sheet, boys. Gatesy, cue us up. Your prediction, Sabres, Hurricanes. Do the Sabres get it done tonight in Buffalo?
I mean, this game scares me as a Sabres fan. I mean, but 3-2. It's just gonna be a surprisingly low scoring game. 3-2 Hurricanes overtime.
Ooh. I like that. I think they said on WGR today that the Hurricanes have beaten the Sabres 11 straight times, I think, which is not a great look. I don't want to do this. A streak just ended last game. A streak is going to end this game. I'm going to go 4-2 Sabres victory. Jeff Skinner scores 2, including the empty netter, to give the Sabres a 4-2 victory over the Canes tonight.
I like it. I'm piggybacking 4-2. Sabres are down 2-1 before eventually scoring 3 to win at 4-2 and getting the job done. Folks, speaking of getting the job done, make sure you're following us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all those streaming platforms. Make sure you're following Intern Vinny, V Cristiano 3. Make sure you're following Gatesy 35. And if you're going to follow me, just do it and don't brag about it, okay? Because I don't want to hear about it. I want workman-style victories, just like these Sabres have done, just like these Sabres have been inspiring us. Because over here at Crossing Swords pregame show, it is all about one thing, as we are just 30 seconds till puck drop.
Let's go Buffalo.